We live in times when we secretly cheer extrajudicial killings of hardened criminals. We live in an age when we have no patience left for the often used expression of slow-moving wheels of justice. We want quick justice and instant satisfaction. We are passing through gladiatorial times when the pictures of houses being bulldozed and the mafiosi being gunned down in cold blood and staged encounters do not repulse us, but rather make us want some more. We are not in the era of moral nihilism. We are rather now in a new universe where our patience has run out with the old and the tried, and we are opting for the brutal, the quick, and the effective. Why have things come to this pass? Is this fact of life a natural corollary to our evolution as a society? Who are the people and the circumstances that have led us to all this? Are we a unique society that is experiencing encounterage? So many questions, and I will attempt to answer all of them. But first, a warm welcome to all viewers of the CAA show. CAA, as all of you know, is Conversations and Analysis, and my name is Juggi Bhasin. To watch this video podcast, press the big red subscriber button on your screen. Subscription is, of course, completely free. Let us start at the beginning. Are we as a society unique with a rash of extrajudicial killings breaking out in the country, especially in the state of Uttar Pradesh? The short answer is no. The world's most advanced economy and developed democracy, that is America, recorded, just to quote a statistic, extrajudicial killings of 164 black people in only the first 8 months of the year 2020. Many more followed after that, the case of George Floyd being one of the most notorious of these killings. Be it India or America or any other part of the world, the concept of the cop who carries an authorized weapon in his hip holster and an unauthorized weapon concealed in his leg holster for unauthorized killings is nothing new, and unfortunately all too real and universal. Therefore, we have to make sense of this malaise of extrajudicial killings, not to justify them, but to understand what is happening in our societies. Most blacks killed in these encounters are innocent, but the reverse is true of most criminals eliminated today in Uttar Pradesh and earlier, as was the case in Maharashtra. What is the peculiar nature of Indian extrajudicial killings? To understand that, we must discard some mythology associated with the problem. In the US, these killings primarily happen because it is a race-related issue out there. There are people in our country who, taking a cue from that problem, attribute motives in terms of religion, especially out here. Mahua Moitra, for instance, has pinned the recent killing of Don Atiq's son Asad near Jhansi on what she colorfully calls the Thok-De leadership of Uttar Pradesh. The implication of her accusation is that the Muslim minority community is being targeted in these killings by a brutal majority right wing. A close examination of the extrajudicial killings in Uttar Pradesh, though, reveals a different picture. Both Hindus and Muslims have died in these killings. Not only that, many in the list of Hindu gangsters eliminated are from the upper castes. The elimination of Hindu gangsters like Vikas Dubey and Rakesh Pandey is case in point. Don't listen to rabid politicians who are jumping across on our television screens, making these encounter killings as a case of the majority community and its upholders subjugating the minority community. That is complete rubbish. The third point actually goes to the heart of the problem. How has this ecosystem of quick, unlawful justice developed in our country? Who is responsible for all this? So, it is one thing to pass laws and have all the right provisions in place in the Indian Penal Code. It is quite another thing to allow these laws and provisions to sink in, take root, and develop organically, which in turn serve the people effectively. There is a section of people that have always subverted these laws, the criminal justice system, for partisan ends. And it is not, I repeat, it is not the majority right wing as is always told to us by vested media channels. This class of people is the so-called liberal secular politician and the activist community, which has a genius for always taking up the wrong causes. What have these sections of people done in tandem over the ages? A criminal, by its very definition, for instance, always remains underground, fearing reprisals from the law. But these sections of people allowed and encouraged the criminal to come overground and take part in the political process. And not only that, allowed such people to become the strong men of their communities, especially minority communities. It is no secret that such dons were running their own justice delivery system in these communities and dispensing justice, or rather extorting monies and land deeds at will. As long as the criminal turned politicians were delivering votes of their community in the kitty of the state level or national level secular liberal politician, then it was all fine, all hunky-dory. But worse, the criminal politicians were becoming the role models for their communities. The aspiration of the young kid growing up in these communities was not so much to get into an IIT or a medical college, but to yield the katta and acquire the flair and mannerisms and aspire for the wanton and debauched and bloody lifestyles of these dons. The problem, especially in the minority community, had gone really deep. An entire generation was growing up inculcating the wrong set of values and aspirations. The liberal politician in India is squarely responsible for this fact of life. And the activist who takes up cases of such dons and mafiosi in national and international fora and the courts and even on television screens is more so. They are truly a match made in heaven. The present case of the encounter of Asad and the role of his politician criminal father Atiq Ahmed is a case in point. We can't overlook the fact that Atiq Ahmed was both a member of the UP Legislative Assembly and, shockingly, he was also a member of Parliament. I look at all the worthies and the activists and the politicians shedding tears for a member of this notorious family. It tells you a story, does it not? Encounter killings is a symptom of a society in stress and under strain. The question is not whether we justify these killings or oppose them. The real debate should be that should we be tinkering with our laws to create these monsters in the first place and then eliminate them when it goes completely out of hand. And so on this note, I come to the end of this episode of the CAA show. I hope you really enjoyed this particular episode. If you like our show, do subscribe to us. And on this note, it's goodbye and cheers from my